My name is Evgenia Markvardt, and I'm the program coordinator for the Policy Leader Fellowship Program here at the STG. The Policy Leader Fellowship Program is very unique because it's a residential program for practitioners who come and spend 5 to 10 months here at the STG at one of the most renowned research institutions in Europe. So it provides an opportunity to those working in the field to exchange ideas, to learn from faculty and researchers who are based here. So I think it's quite unique in its kind, as there are not so many other programs that provide this access to people working directly in policymaking to come and exchange with researchers. So I would say that's the first one. The second, of course, it's the diversity of the cohorts that we bring here. In the past 5 years that the program has been running, we've hosted over 100 fellows from over 60 countries. So every cohort has representatives from about 20 countries, and that means that we really get a global perspective that they bring, and they, of course, come from very different regions, from very different contexts, and that creates really exciting conversations that take place here at the STG. And finally, I would say that the program is very fellow-driven. So we don't really prescribe what needs to happen here. A lot of the interactions are very spontaneous, serendipitous, I would say even. And we really rely on the fellows' experience because they are professionally mature. They would be mid-career professionals when they come. And so they really bring problems and issues inspired by their work. So by the things that they observe, by the challenges that they encounter when they are in their respective institutions, in their organizations, in their regions. And that's what drives the conversations. It's their experience and the issues to which they seek solutions, to the problems that they want to address, perhaps in their work. So they take time to take a step back, to spend time here at the STG to explore possible solutions, recommendations, and then go back to their work and apply those directly in the operational setting. It's really a privilege for me to be working with the fellows, to be based here at the STG, because you get a sense of what is happening out there, outside of the walls of the school, and you always have your hand on the pulse of policymaking, I would say, everywhere in the world. And my experience with the past cohort has been really illuminating because I realized how much learning can happen just by bringing people together in the same room. And I think that's the unique aspect, the unique perspective that we can have here at the STG is the platform that we can give to people to come together and to debate, to exchange. And it's really something that I noticed. You don't need to put that much if you just have the right people open to having a conversation, and a lot can happen. What the STG can offer to the fellows is a network. So besides meeting each other when the fellows arrive here, and as I mentioned, it's more than 20 countries every year, so you really leave the school with lifelong connections. It's of course the network of the students who are here completing their master's program, our faculty, researchers within the STG, but also within the broader EUI. And I think this is absolutely invaluable because, as we all know, connections really matter. And so having those friendships, professional connections, possible collaborations that start here and then continue after they leave from the STG is extremely valuable asset that the fellows gain by doing the program with us. Of course, besides that, it's also a change of pace. So we all know that when you are in the workforce, you're working within your organization, you have a goal, you are working towards common mission with your colleagues. Often you work with like-minded people, with the same background, because of course you are working on similar projects. But by coming to the STG, you take a step back and you are immersed in a different environment that can provide you, it can be really an eye-opening experience to interact with others working in other areas of policy making, and that can give you unexpected perspective, unexpected answers to the questions that you might have when you arrive. So there is a lot of cross-learning that happens between fellows who come from very different regions in the world. And in terms of what the fellows can offer to the school, I think it's of course a lot. Mostly it's the experience that they bring from the field and from working directly in the institutions, and they step away and have been very recently working, and that is very valuable to the students, who instead are about to enter their work life, and they can provide a lot of interesting connections, professional connections, guidance, mentoring. So in a way, they get a network from us, but they also bring their network. And so we can invite additional speakers to our events. They can connect our students, our faculty, with their colleagues from past workplaces and so on. So again, this is just a multiplier exercise of different networks that are linked here at the SDG. They then participate in some of the master's classes, so they can present case studies from their work experience. They co-write policy papers with our faculty. They contribute to the case studies library that we're creating at the school. So there's really a lot of interaction and a lot of cross-pollination that is happening between the fellows and other members of our community. Fellows come often with a project in mind, so with a problem, a dilemma, a challenge that they have encountered in their work, in their region, and that is what drives then their time here at the SDG. So we don't prescribe what they should be working on. Instead, we rely very much and we listen a lot to understand where they come from and what they want to work on. So I would say that they're the ones who tell us what the issues are in the world. And I think that is very valuable, because then often it happens that what our faculty and students are working on matches the questions that the fellows bring. And that, of course, is really good to find out, because it makes us realize that what we're working on is current and relevant as well. So they tend to bring these issues, and then they either do research or they do analysis while they stay here. We provide them with training, with tools to facilitate their work. And then when they complete the program, they take back the knowledge that was generated during their program and apply possible solutions or improvements that they developed back in their work. I think one of the most surprising connections that fellows have made to me personally was a connection between somebody working on outer space issues and policies around that, specifically between the European Union and Africa, and somebody working on climate issues. So the two came in with their specific agenda in mind and topics that they wanted to explore. But during the sessions that we have had, the two fellows realized that there is a lot that those working on climate issues, specifically on forests, can learn from satellite collected data. And those are not the connections that can happen normally in the environments where they were working. Because if you're working in climate issues, you tend to have a lot of people with biology background, environmental studies, and so on. Whereas, of course, if you're working on space, this would be science driven and IT. And so having the two interact and understand that there is a lot that they can exchange in terms of data, in terms of approach, and how policies can be improved for climate-related issues was really interesting for me to see. And again, this was a connection that was made during one of the sessions, and this was really exciting to observe. The fellowship is really the starting point for most fellows. I wouldn't say that once the fellowship ends, the experience ends. Of course, we welcome the fellows to join the alumni network of the school that doesn't only include the fellows themselves, but also the students and the researchers, the visiting scholars that come to the SDG. So once they complete the program, they continue to maintain those links. They are very welcome to come back to the school. They could be here in a training capacity as trainers themselves, or attending executive trainings that we continue to organize here at the SDG. And I would say that many fellows come here and they do not go back necessarily in the same roles and to the same organizations. So they tend to spend this time in a very reflective manner, consolidating the experiences that they have had, taken into account the new information, the new perspective that they have gained, and often they go back in more senior roles, or they might even go back to a different organization and apply what they have learned here to their new work, to their new areas of work. And I think this is really, really highlighting how life-changing, if we want to use this term, this experience can be to many, because they then tend to change the way that they want to approach policymaking and maybe the angle at which they came in with.